following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport Simulations live on PTR-TV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside, off of the back straightaway. 26 at Hallmark, trying to go 3 wide, no one's with him.
Talking and bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's gonna dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it? Walker Thomas.
Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
Welcome race fans back to PTR TV on LSRTV. Tonight is Tuesday night and it's ASRS night. Tonight is the Twitchy Race Reports Premier Cup Series live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Sam Maxwell Customs 150. So it'll be 60 laps around this 2.5 mile rectangular facility in Speedway, Indiana for round 2 of the playoffs. There are 8 drivers currently in playoff contention. We have 3 races in the round of the playoffs, and then after that race we will be heading right to Homestead for the Cup finale in a couple weeks. But we got to get through tonight first, and calling the shots tonight is myself, Corey Silva. I got Evan Block and then Joe Chris behind the scenes. And well, Evan, Indianapolis, we know how challenging this is of a track. We know how challenging it is to pass here. I think track position is going to be a vital component to tonight's race.
Yeah, whatever you can do to get track position, get up front, and stay up front is going to be what you need to do to have a chance to win this race. Because if you can come down beyond a little bit fresher tires, maybe 5 or 10 laps, but if you're back in 15th, 20th, you're not going to get back up to the top 5 very quickly. So track position is going to be the key here, as it is very hard to pass.
Yep, and we'll expect these drivers right on the bottom of the racetrack, and the only way you're gonna see these passes is really just trying to get a run off of corner exit and then going down these 5/8 mile straightaways here at Indianapolis, trying to get that run. And you may see a little bit of bump drafting in play because these straightaways are long enough where that can actually give a little bit of an advantage. So, and Evan, I think you may have the point standings, and you can let us know who is still fighting for this championship.
8 drivers currently in the playoffs. Jeff Ford is leading them after his win last week at Las Vegas. 13 points over Scott Eckrich, and then Sam Maxwell in 3rd. Brian Yazik in 4th, who is in the final position if this If he is currently in this position next week at Martinsville after the race, he will be going for a championship in 2 weeks at Homestead. And then in 5th, we have Mark Emerson, who is only 1 point off of that final position for the championship round. Jordan Ashland in 6th, Jared Mogart in 7th, and Jason Stewart in 8th. Those are the 8 playoff drivers.
Yeah, so again, this race at Indianapolis is going to be very important because next week we are going to be going to Martinsville, and that's going to be the determining race to see who is going to get into the championship round at Homestead. And well, a playoff race at a short track, you may have just mere points separating some of these drivers, and to have that come down to, well, it could be a bump and run or anything on those lines, that is going to be an interesting thing to watch. But that's why they want to get through Indianapolis nice and clean and try to be in a good position for that race.
Yeah, in this track, with how narrow it is, if there is a wreck in front of you, it's pretty hard to avoid that. So drivers are going to need to watch out for that and try and just keep themselves in good positions and be very mindful of all scenarios if there is a wreck where they can go.
Yep, so we'll see what happens here. And you can see on the qualifying chart, Scott Eckrich is up by almost 2/10 over Jeff Ward. So he is really out there to show what he is made of tonight. And Jeff Ward has won the most races this season, but Woody Mahan, Brian Yazik tied 3rd and 4th. So Scott Eckrich will see if he can have that, what appears to be pole, carry over into the race, and hopefully give him the run that he needs as the clock is running out in the session. So in a matter of moments, we will be bringing you the starting lineup here, and again, 60 laps worth of competition. Should be a relatively quick race. Oh, wrong button there. It should be a relatively quick race here tonight, as long as we can go green and get some runs in, see how these guys are able to deal with the tire wear, deal with the ever-changing handling and this difficult racetrack. But here we are on the front straightaway, ready for the starting lineup. On the pole with a lap time of 49.878 is Scott Eckrich, and Jeff Ward to the outside of the front row. In row number 2 is Woody Mahan and Brian Yazik, and then we have Tyler Seville and Jordan Ashland 5th and 6th, Dylan Hickey and Mitch Brown 7th and 8th.
And rolling off in the 9th position, we have Troy Haight in that number 28 machine. On his outside, we'll have the number 117 of Richard Stallings. And then behind them, Mark Whitley in 11th, Jared Haggerty in 12th, Zach Holloway in 13th, Sam Maxwell in 14th, Jim Foose in the 15th position, and Jason Stewart in 16th.
In 17th is Tim Knott, Josh Walker in 18th. Then we have Mark Emerson in 19th and Brandon Stokes in 20th. 21st is Alex Giese and Steve Buhala rolling off P22. Alan Young and Scott Smith running 23rd and 24th.
And then Clarence Bonner starting in the 25th position, Jonathan Holstein in 26th, Tommy Cannon in 27th, Kenny Baker 28th, Andy Veltman in 29th, Jared Mogart in 30th, Brad Cross in 31st, and David Hudson in 32nd.
Going to be interesting to see Jared Mogart all the way back there in the 30th position, to see, again, with this difficult track to pass on, how is he going to be able to get through the field, and is he going to be able to, and is there going to be anything in his way that may make his ride a lot more difficult. Let's see what the weather conditions are here tonight at Indianapolis. You may see the paint schemes go white. I'm trying to get a couple schemes to load. Had some trouble last week and for some reason just not wanting to behave. But again, weather conditions tonight are 77 degrees approximately, air temp 103 on the track, and about a 6-mile-an-hour north wind here tonight from Indy.
A little bit cooler track temps than we usually see, with only being about 103 out there, so that will help these drivers out to not be slipping around as much and just gonna have quite a bit more grip with that cooler track temp.
Yeah, but I think these guys will need it. We know how difficult this Cup car is. It really takes a steady wheel. It takes a very steady left foot on that throttle. Well, right foot, I guess, actually. Left foot, that'd be a little awkward to do, wouldn't it? Takes a very steady foot there to make that work, so we'll see how these drivers are able to navigate here around Indy, and again, how the passing is going to play out. Front row is the two drivers that have been fastest all season. Ward and Eckrich. And then in row 2, Woody Mahan has had some good runs, so we'll see. And then, of course, Brian Yazik, who is kind of the guy going for the truck championship. He is, I think, the points leader in that series, but again, trying to get in that Final Four for Homestead.
And Jeff Ward, since he won last week, I believe that he is going to be locked into the Final Four going for the championship in Homestead. I don't know if, do you know if that is for sure,
yeah,
Corey?
As long as he makes all 3 of the playoff races, he is locked in, so
he's just out here to have fun tonight and next week at Martinsville.
He cannot miss any of the next 2 races, so obviously he's here. As long as he doesn't miss Martinsville, that will count as a win and in for him, and see if anybody else can have that same benefit here tonight. We roll off corner number 4 down the long front straightaway. Remember, when the pace car pulls in, they can go whenever the leader decides to go. That's a very long box here at Indy to get the race going. So pace car is in, fans on their feet, and here it goes. Scott Eckrich on the loud pedal. We are racing at Indianapolis.
Jeff Ward did a pretty nice job to anticipate that start. Only lost about 3 or so car lengths, which is pretty good considering what we usually see on these restarts. He is going to hang on to second by a good margin over Woody Mahan, and top 5, top 6 now, all single file.
Yeah, we are single file, and Eckrich is already trying to pull out to a huge gap here. But we'll see how that does play out, as there are already 2 3-wide racing in the pack right now as we go back to about the 10th or so position. Troy Haight and that is Richard Stallings. They are door-to-door. And Mark Whitley and Jared Haggerty racing behind them. But jumping back up a little bit further, we do have Jordan Ashland trying to get a spot on Woody Mahan. That has been a successful pass, so move Ashland into the P4 position at the moment.
Everyone just trying to figure out where they're going to line up. Most of the field single file now, at least most of the top 15, top 20. We do have a battle going on with Richard Stallings and the 76 of Mark Whitley. Out of turn number 1 now, they're going to be side by side through the short chute down into turn 2 now, and it looks like Whitley is going to clear him.
Yeah, Stallings really high up in the groove there. You can run the second line here as a defense, but you don't want to be that high up here in the corners. That'll kill you so much time and allow the other drivers to get right to you. As Sam Maxwell taking a look to the inside of Haggerty, nothing doing, but it does cause Haggerty to run a little bit higher of a line, and got Maxwell just that little bit closer. See if he can set anything up through 4.
Turn 4 and turn 2 are probably the most important corners on this track, so you need to get good runs out of those corners, because these these straightaways are very, very long. So if you lose a little momentum out of turn 2 or 4, and it's going to kill you down the entire straightaway.
Yeah, and of course these straightaways, like as you said, Evan, you need any kind of draft that you can get. You need that run. That's really the only place you're gonna pass. You're not really gonna get anything done in the short chutes in between 2 and 3 and in between 3 and 4. So you really have to utilize that run. But up front, Eckrich out to 3/4 of a second over Ward, who has pulled out by about 8/10 over Brian Yazik. And then it looks like Jordan Ashland is trying to show some strength early in this race. He already passed Woody Mahan. Now he's trying to close in on Yazik for that 3rd spot.
Ashland up 2 positions so far, and going to be trying to get by Yazik. Not close enough yet to make a move, but with Scott Eckrich pulling away as much as he is, actually last lap, it looks like Jeff Ward was about a 10th quicker. I'm wondering if Eckrich is maybe hurting his tires a little bit, and Ward is now starting to close in.
Yeah, that could be the case, because, I mean, in these cup cars, it really takes finesse. You really can go out there on those first couple laps and really push hard and make some time, but with the load that you have on these right side tires with this flat track here, you really will kill that right front. So anybody who saves, you're really going to have that work in your benefit as the laps tick off. But I think it may have just been a bad lap for Eckrich, because he's already back to a 2nd lead as we cross the stripe.
Yeah, we'll have to see here in 10-15 laps if Eckrich continues this pace, or if Ward starts to close in, and just see who is saving their tires the best, as he was 3/10 quicker than Jeff Ward last time. We'll see if he can keep that up and continue to pull away.
Yeah, so We have a lot of single file up front, but they are starting to race, or still up racing. Mid-pack, Dylan Hickey, Mark Whitley, Richard Stallings, nearly 3 wide. They actually are 3 wide. Sam Maxwell behind that was in the middle as that Home Depot machine. I believe that is
Jared Haggerty.
Jared Haggerty took that power move to the inside, so Maxwell taking the safe side falls behind him. Then the 2 machine of Zach Calloway is under fire from Richard Stallings. Actually, I think it's vice versa. I think Stallings is falling back. And then Mark Emerson in the 22 has Jason Stewart and Jim Foose behind him. And Jim, I tried. I can't get that scheme to show up, so sorry, you are the Black Bandit after another week, so we'll work on that. But again, a lot of hard racing and a lot of people nearly hitting the fence in between 1 and 2.
Yeah, Emerson got really high there out of turn number 1 and just about got up into the wall. He may have a little bit, but he got a really good run out of 2 on that 117 is Stallings, who looks like he may have got tight out of turn 2 and lost a ton of momentum, and that 22 of Emerson is going to be clear before they even get to 3.
Yeah, Stallings has dropped back already 5 spots since where he started, and the 22 washed up a little bit in the corner there, but not enough for Stallings to be able to perform a crossover move. And I can see here a little bit further up, I think I see a battle for position shaping up. It looks like Sam Maxwell has caught Jared Haggerty again for the 11th spot. And again, Zach Calloway just knocking on the back door of what that battle is about to shape up for right now. Here comes Maxwell running that tighter line through turn 1, and into the fence is Haggerty. He's going to spin off to the inside, hard into the barrier, and he's not on the racetrack yet. He is.
There is the caution.
There is the caution flag. We caught that one live, but let's go back and get a chopper view at it and try to see what happened in better detail. It did look like he just hit the wall and just threw him back into the racing surface and ultimately all the way to the inside grass. Yep, right there into the fence. Maybe a little bit of contact from Maxwell, but just hard into the barrier there and just onto the racing surface long enough to trigger the iRacing yellow flag.
Yeah, Maxwell does have a little bit of front end damage from that, and that is not what you want out of a track with as long straightaways as this one. So I'll have to get all of that fixed, and we'll see if that slows him down very much.
As we, yeah, you could see just a little bit of crinkle there, nothing over the top, but as you said, Evan, every little bit of speed that you lose here is gonna quickly add up here at Indianapolis. And Maxwell being 3rd in points right now, he only has, well, over Yazik 2 points of a buffer, and then I mean, really, everybody is in it. Jason Stewart's 27 points back, and Scott Eckrich is 13 back, so 14 points separate 2nd through 8th. So these guys really cannot afford to have these races all end in a negative sense. But one other driver I want to bring up, Evan, quickly, Jared Bogart started 30th. He is up to 18th right now, so making some serious progress in that double zero. Remember, he is also in the fight to try to get to Homestead.
So after 8 laps there, Corey, do you think we could see some of them, maybe like Mogard, take 2 tires here just to try and get some track position, or do you think it'll be all 4?
Without having on-track experience this week, I'm really not confident in making a call on that, but I would assume that 4 tires is probably going to be the popular call. I don't expect 2 tires, but we're frequently wrong, so I would not be surprised.
And Development staying out to lead a lap.
And, well, how many times has he done that this season?
I think he's tried to do it in pretty much every single race.
I don't think it's succeeded every race, but I do know he has tried it nearly every week.
Don't see any 2 tires. But Brian Yazik is going to come out of pit road in 2nd, just behind Scott Eckrich.
And that's Brandon Stokes, who appears to have just driven through his pit stall, and that'll put him in the 2nd position. Well, 2nd, it will be the lead, but 2nd at the moment behind Veltman.
Wondering if he might have just missed his pit stop. We'll see if he does choose to come down this time, or if he will stay out there.
I would assume Veltman will come to pit road, but we'll have to see it. And again, curious about the 0-1. Remember, he did not pit. He went through pit lane, but did not actually service the car at all. So 8 laps is, I mean, we didn't get to check what the lap times were, but I know there had to have been, I'm assuming, at least 3 or 4 tenths of fall off.
More than that, because it looks like Eckrich, his best lap was a 50.201, and his 6th lap was a 52.2. So that is 2 seconds of fall off in just 6 laps.
Yeah, so that is definitely going to be cause for 4 tires at every opportunity, and Stokes to pit road, so that will give the lead back to Scott Eckrich. And I mean, it just goes back to what I was talking about. These flat tracks, you don't have the banking to help the car turn. So really, you're driving the car. You're really having to wheel it. You're having to maybe use the brake a little bit to keep the nose planted onto the racetrack to help it turn using the aerodynamics, but it does put a ton of load on the right side tires, especially the right front, if these cars are set up tight, which I have a feeling they probably are.
Yeah, because you're still going 165 miles an hour through pretty flat corners. That's putting a lot of wear on these tires.
Yep, and usually what happens is you burn that right front, and then a lot of times you'll get so tight that a lot of times you'll actually get loose on corner exit because you have so much wheel into it. So you kind of have that odd push loose sensation, which is really kind of the most dangerous situation to be in, because you have to fix one problem, you have to kind of set up another problem, and then all the while trying to gain positions and hold off your competitors.
Out of 4 now, coming down the front stretch. We're going to see if we get one to green this time. I believe we should. Looks like everyone is starting to double up here.
Yep, already, again, with the short race, we're already 10 laps in, so 50 laps to go. And again, that is not that long of a time frame if we do get some good green flag runs in. They're not at the point now of being able to run this out green flag on the current fuel load, so there will, at least from this point, have to be one more stop. I think it's about a 38 lap approximate fuel window here. So if we do get a green run, then they'll have one more stop, and interesting to see when it will be, or if we're going to have some cautions and some strategy. Never know how these races will play out.
Jared Mogart now up to 11th after his pit stops. So 30th to 11th and only 10 laps, so he's trying to work his way up through this field and get up to the front, which he should be able to do pretty soon. So I guess I was talking at the beginning of the race about how hard it is to pass. Mogart's proven us wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a good, I mean, not any offense to anybody, but there is a good skill gap in the cup cars in many series, so he's going to have more difficult time getting through these guys up front, obviously, as the times get closer and the competition level increases. So we'll see how much more progress he's going to be able to make. But here we come off of corner number 4 and get ready to take lap number 12 and get this race underway.
Pace car now coming down pit road, and Eckrich immediately gets us back underway here at Indy, and once again gets a really good start over Yazek, who is going to hold on in a second, at least for the moment.
Yeah, Yazik will try to be able to go around the outside. He won't have to. Mahan did not contest the position. Now Jeff Ward back to 4th, and we know he wants to get back up there. We know he is a fast car, so he's going to have a couple drivers to maneuver through to get his position back. They are door-to-door, the 27 of Ashland, the 18 of Brown. That's for the 5th spot. Right behind that, Troy Haight, and Mark Emerson has some good track position after that pit stop.
Going down into turn 3 with Brown on the outside, Ashwin on the inside. He's going to make that bottom lane work and should be able to clear out of turn 3. Yes, he will. Now, Mark Emerson, or Troy Haight, going to be trying to get underneath Mitch Brown into turn 4.
Oh, no,
he gets
contact.
Loose.
Can he save it?
Tyler Seville going around as well. I don't think that's going to bring out a caution with how low he is.
Try to get a better look at that quickly on replay. It was great driving by everybody to avoid that being a catastrophic issue in the middle of the corner and in front of the pack. So it was a little bit of contact with Mark Emerson. Got hit really sideways, and then the 11 got hit from the guy behind him, and the 11 of Tyler Seville spun all the way to the inside and got some heavy damage, but off of the racing surface all that happened. So we do stay green flag racing. And up front, Eckrich again out to a significant lead. Yazik is in sole position of 2nd. Top 6 rather have broken away, and we have really strung out very quickly into this run.
Yeah, with that crash happening out of turn 4 there, that kind of checked everyone up and allowed some guys to kind of get away from everyone else and get all singled out.
Yeah, we did have 14th and 15th, a lot of 7s on the board there. The 7 passed the 77. Stewart did pass Giese. Remember, Stewart is in the top 8 right now. You can see by his blue banner, blue spoiler, blue splitter. That is the playoff signifiers that you'll be able to see on the playoff vehicles. But to have a position change, Jared Mogard goes by Mark Whitley to move into the 8th spot. So Mogard is up there, and right in front of him is Mark Emerson, another playoff driver.
Be interested to see how quickly Mogard can reel in Emerson as he gained a lot of ground there through turn 1.
And we do have a battle. Oh, it is kind of ceased for a moment as Ashland took a look under Mahan in 1 and wasn't able to hold it through the chute, but Mahan didn't get as good of a run off of 2. We go down the long back straightaway, and the 27 thought he was going to be able to close a little bit more than he did. So he won't be able to do anything with it, but he'll have to try to get a better run. You can see he's much lower through 3, and that eliminates that gap rather quickly, and we'll see who can get a better run through 4.
Looks like it is going to be Mahan getting the better run out of the corner, and he's pulling a little bit down the front stretch now.
Yeah, so Ashland will have to figure something out. We'll go on board with him for a little bit and just watch what a lap around Indy entails. They're going to look at him just get on the throttle through the center there, and probably took about a 1/10 of a second out of the gap, but it does seem Mahan is getting through 2 and 4 better. Ashland maybe getting through 1 and 3, and well, in that situation, Evan, I'm taking Mahan because I want to get off the corners better. I don't want to get into them as good.
Yeah, 2 and 4 by far the most important corners on this track as they come around the 11 of Seville.
40 really high through corner number 3 right there, and that's going to give Ashland a look to the inside, but is he going to be able to get the runoff corner exit being pinched down to the inside? We'll see what happens down the front straightaway. He does have the quarter panel on him, and he is pulling alongside, and he's gonna dive it into corner number 1, and he will clear, or will he? Mahan will back off.
So now Jordan Ashland up to the 4th position. He's got a little ways to go to catch up to Jeff Ward.
Mahan nearly in the fence off of 2. That's going to allow the 18 to close on him. That is Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown, again, as you said, having Tyler Seville, who is 3 laps down after that impact on track. It does seem to have some good speed, but that could just be because of having better tires. The aero on that car is obviously quite issued right now as he does look to the inside. This is not for position.
Seville is just hoping for some cautions right now because he is in the free pass position, so he would get one of those laps back if a caution were to come out.
Jim Foose to the outside in the 10th position, gets loose on exit right in front of Jordan Harnish. Really close call for the 44, avoids that contact. Foose trying to hang on to that top 10. 44 will look to the inside. Richard Stallings behind him, giving him a little bit of draft assistance down the back straightaway, as that is a battle again for the 10th position. Foose to the outside. Will he battle it up there, or will he relinquish it? He is going to try to battle it up there. 44 gets loose. Now where does Stallings go?
Stallings just going to stay behind that 44 for now, and Harnish, he got a little too high, now getting loose and caution that now.
Alex Giese is on the access road, and Alan Young is around in corner number 4.
Looks like that started with Alan Young.
Oh, we're going to go a little bit further back. Alan Young drove it deep into 3, and he got loose at the exit of 3, entering the short chute, and that collected Giese, who had to go to the access road. Probably got a little bit of damage from that, but will put us under our second caution of the race at just under 1/3 distance in the event here tonight, and that was a 10-lap run, so I would expect another set of 4-tire pit stops. Does look like that 70 from what we saw in practice and what we saw in qualifying. Just does not seem that we're going to have anybody that can hang with him. We haven't really had any significantly long runs, but Evan, on the these 10-lap bursts we have had, he's out there.
Yeah, but last week I believe it was kind of the same. Scott Eckrich had the car to beat, but just had some issues in the race and ended up not winning. Jeff Ward ended up winning that race, and we'll see if he can kind of iron those issues out and put a race together.
Yeah, rip the cone there on the front. Gets hit under the front straightaway, but everybody down pit lane, and we'll see if everybody has a nice smooth stop. If any position changes do occur, as Seville will get one of his laps back, down to 2 laps down, as it does appear Alan Young has taken it behind the wall.
Alan Young and Troy Hayth, the only guys taking it behind the wall so far in this race. Eckrich going to win the race off pit road, and Yazek once again out second. Jeff Ward lost a lot of spots there. He's back in 8th now.
Yeah, he had a 15-second stop. I think it was just, he had about 4 seconds longer time up pit road. He must have had trouble entering his stall, and that'll cost him a ton of track position. But as these guys do exit the pits and assemble behind the pace car, we're going to step aside for the first side-by-side break of the race, so please stay with us.
So hey, this is the new iRacing scanner, right?
Yep, this is our new scanner.
Wow. And this scans all your tracks and will scan everything else around it as well?
Yeah, you can even scan yourself with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, don't tell Tony that I asked, but how do you turn it on?
You just hit this button, scan right here.
Cool. And then that's just going to move around?
Yep. It'll just do a rotation, scan away.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's cool. That's real cool.
Hey, Kevin, can you come to the office for a minute?
Yeah,
to show you something.
there.
And we're back here, PTR TV on LSRTV, the Sam Maxwell Customs 150 here at the Brickyard. Just had, I believe it to be our second caution of the race, has completed itself, and Ekrich and Yazik will be leading us down to get this race back underway here. We are past 1/3 distance, 22 laps completed out of 60 on the scheduled distance here tonight, and pace car is coming down the front straightaway and takes the left-hand turn. And when will Ekrich, I'll get it right, get this race underway? He already has. We are back racing, and look at that jump he got.
Good jump over Brian Yazik and William Howland, who are side by side now. Single file. Brian Yazik gonna hang on to that second position. Howland in third, and Jordan Ashland trying to take that away from him in fourth. Coming through turn 2 now, going to see if Ashland can get this good run out of the corner. Looks like he's going to get a pretty good run. He's going to try and pull underneath and down the backstretch.
Yes, he will, and I don't think he's going to have enough. He's going to have to send it there if he's going to make anything happen with it. And he's going to do exactly that. He's going to drive it in deep, but he will hold the reins back and avoid any kind of contact. They will go door-to-door through 3, door-to-door through 4 thus far. A little bit of wiggle there from the 27. Mahan nearly in the fence, and now Mark Emerson is driving behind the 40, maybe trying to help that outside lane, as here comes Emerson with a look to the outside of Ashland, but he will drop back in line.
Jared Mogart trying to make a pass for 6th underneath the 18 and Mitch Brown as go down into turn number 2. Going to try to make that bottom lane work. He's getting a bit loose off the corner, but still able to get a pretty good run. But Mitch Brown using that high lane kept it wound up, and it's going to block him.
Yeah, he's fighting for that position very aggressively, but Mogard will still prevail and get the run to the inside. The question is, will he be able to persevere? Usually they get through the outside in 1 and 3 okay, but the inside seems to be working better in 2 and 4, but Mogard gets the curve there. That gets him a little bit loose, and now they're going to go around the outside of him, and he's going to actually lose the spot to the 18, lose it to Ward, and he will get in line in front of Whitley.
Mogard tried to make the pass for 6th, ends up falling back to the 8th position. That's just what can happen here at Indy. It's hard to complete passes here.
Yeah, it is, and I did see Emerson trying to make a move on Ashland, but that was a short-lived endeavor, as again to the inside goes Brown. Actually, to the inside. I think Ward's actually going to the outside, rather. Not usually how you see passes made, but he's going to try it on the outside here at Indy. Nearly in the fence through the chute there was Ward, and seems through 4. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep it with the run, and a big block by Brown all the way to the inside, nearly into the pit wall was Ward, going all the way down there on the front straightaway.
Go down into turn 1 now. Mitch Brown may have overdrove a little bit. He's a little bit higher than he would like to be, but didn't lose too much time there. Let's see if Jeff Ward can catch back up to and try and make another move on him.
Now, Evan, how do you feel now if you're Jeff Ward and seeing how defensive Brown's racing already?
You're going to be a little more aggressive with the moves you make, but...
Here comes Mogard. Speaking of aggressive, dives it to the inside and clears for the position.
And behind him now, Jeff Ward, side by side with Mark Whitley. Looks like Whitley might be able to take this spot here out of turn 4. Both drivers a little bit loose, but Jeff Ward is going to get the good run and contact. Jeff Ward going around.
big contact, and that's going to be right on the front straightaway. How many other drivers are going to get collected? Already saw at least one. And that is going to be huge playoff implications. Actually, yeah, it will be. It'll be huge playoff implications.
Well, Jeff Ward, he won last week, so he should be locked in.
Yeah, so as long as he doesn't have any issues next week, but still, you don't want to have that be on your record at this point. Can kill your momentum, but get off of the corner. We're watching it down the front straightaway. 76 just drifted into the left rear and throws the 90 right into the middle of the racetrack. That's Sam Maxwell, so there are playoff implications there, because Maxwell had a pretty significant hit in that. See what kind of damage that 98 may have endured.
Like we were kind of talking about before the race started, is whenever there's a wreck, especially on these straightaways, there's not many spots to go. This track gets blocked very quickly.
You can see that damage to Maxwell. He is not going to fare very well. Look at that. He's going to be well off the pace. So again, pit stops now as we begin to approach halfway in the race, completing lap number 27. And I think this is the, as we pull up the graphic, the third caution of tonight's race. And we'll see. Don't expect any strategy calls. Expect 4 tires and fuel, but we saw how many spots Jeff Ward lost on that last round of stops. That put him in the back right in the hornet's nest, and you can see how that worked out for him. So you really cannot afford to get put back into the pack here. You have to have a good stop.
And now they're at a point where if it does go green, they should be able to make it all the way to the end on fuel. It looks like Scott Eckrich is going to win the race off pit road. Brian Yazik once again out second, and Woody Mahan once again out third.
Yep, yes, it is. So at this point, as they do go through pit lane and back onto the racetrack, and I think we can give you a close enough to mid-race rundown, let you know where your favorite driver may be running. Scott Eckrich, as of lap number 28, is your leader. We have Brian Yazik running in second, Woody Mahan running in third, Jordan Ashland in fourth, Mark Emerson in fifth, Mitch Brown in sixth, Jared Bogard in seventh, Jordan Harnish in eighth, Richard Stallings in ninth, and Tim Knott rounding out your top 10.
And in 11th, we have Brandon Stokes. In 12th, we have the 21 of Scott Smith. 13th, we have the number 2 of Zach Calloway. 14th, the number 30 of Brad Cross. 15th, 42 of Jim Foose. 16th, the 43 of Steve Bohala. 17th, the 54 of Dylan Hickey. 18th, the number 73 of Jonathan Holstein. And 19th, the 14 of Tommy Cannon. And in 20th, the 77 of Alex Giese.
Then Kenny Baker running in 21st, Richard Fletcher running in 22nd, Jared Haggerty in 23rd, Andy Veltman in 24th. Some damage, I think he was in that last wreck. Sam Maxwell was a large, well, he got some large contact, and you can see, I think he barely kept it out of the wall there. That car is not driving well in 25th. Josh Walker in 26th, first class car on the lead lap. Mark Whitley is 1 lap down, getting repairs in the pits. He was a large factor in that last wreck. Tyler Seville, 1 lap down. Remember, he was in a serious incident earlier in the race. Mark Whitley is now thrown back to 28th, actually. Jason Stewart in 29th. 2 laps down. Lee Staples in 30th. And then Jeff Ward, not sure if he's going to get back in the race after that incident.
I doubt he's going to be able to. That is some heavy damage on that number 90 car. Yeah, he is behind the wall just now. So 30 cars still out on track.
Yep, and as we complete lap number 29 this time by, and we will be on the second half of the race, Evan, and we get through points where it seems like it's going to thin out and we're going to get a green flag run, but we haven't really gone a stretch more than about 8 to 10 laps, and I don't think that's been long enough to really tell if anybody is going to gain or fall off with the with tire fall off and just the natural degradation. So if this keeps up, I mean, Eckrich isn't going to have competition, but I'm still kind of anxious to see how it will play out over the course of a long run.
Yeah, all we've seen is that in lap 1 to 10, Eckrich is the car to beat, but we don't know in 15, 20 laps if he's still going to be the car to beat, or if maybe Brian Yazik or Woody Mahan, if they're saving stuff, and they might start to reel him in after those 15, 20 laps, and hopefully we'll get a run here to the end and get to see who is the best long-run driver.
Yeah. Next, we do have, as you said, about 30 cars on the racetrack, but I think in raceable condition, we may be down to closer to about 22. So we'll see again how this races out, as we are again at the halfway point in the race, and pretty much the same front row we've had all night, minus Jeff Ward. But Brian Yazik's been up there all night. Ashlyn has been up there all night. Woody Mahan's been up there all night. So we'll see. Yazik hasn't been able to get a good jump to stay with Eckrich. He's had to battle with Woody Mahan on every single restart, and that's allowed Eckrich to get out there by about a half second every time.
But Eckrich, he's been going around the same time every single restart, so maybe at this point Yazik and Mahan, they might be able to kind of anticipate it and maybe get going and just try and stay within a car length or two. We'll find out here.
Yeah, the Indy, in my opinion anyways, is one of the easier tracks to time your restarts, because you don't have to worry about the banking. You really don't have to worry about a ton of wheel spin or any kind of off camber or anything like that. It's pretty much just, it's a straightaway. It's a complete long flat straightaway, so you really can put a little more focus on trying to time the run as opposed to having to worry about keeping the car out of the fence. So here we come off of, well, through corner number 4, and we're going to try this once again. We're going to take the green flag, and well, for this restart, we're going to turn the engine sounds up and let you guys feel the thunder here of the American Sim Racing Series. Hope you enjoyed that as we get back to the action, and it does look like Brian Yazik is staying with Eckrich. He's within a quarter of a second of him, which is closer than he's been all night. So we'll see if maybe, just maybe, he can stay with him and mount a challenge. But just as I say that, he lost about 2/10 just through 3 alone. Coming through 4, who is going to get the better run off of 4 and down the front stretch? Looks like it is going to Eckrich by about 1/10, but still, Yazik is running closer than he has been.
But is he using maybe a little bit more tire than he would like to be? Driving a little bit harder, and if we keep having these only 8 to 10 lap runs, it's not going to hurt him too much. But if this does end up being the run to the end, whoever saves their stuff the most is probably going to win this race.
Yeah, that's going to be a gamble of, do you want to chance it as going to be the long green flag run, or are you just going to assume it's going to be another approximately 10 lap stint and expect to get another set of tires? That's going to be decision these drivers will have to make with how they choose to drive, but it does look like Bogard trying to get that 6th spot. Took a couple looks to the inside of Mark Emerson, but not able to get any kind of sustained charge. But speaking of charges, it does look like that 27 stock of the back bumper of the 55, Ashland trying to get into P2.
He had a pretty good run through the center of turn 1, but wasn't able to keep it off the corner and through the chute. Here through turn 2 now, we'll see who can get the better run out of the corner and down the long back straight. It looks like pretty even, maybe a little bit better by Yazek there, but not by much.
And you have to get a much better run to be able to get down to the inside. All you really need is to get that right front fender to the left rear quarter panel of the car that you are trying to pass, because you can use a little bit of side draft and use that to get you door to door, and then just you're going to have to make a better run through 3 and 4 to try to clear the pass. So, but he does drop back a couple tenths there down the front straightaway, so that move will no longer be happening immediately. So we'll see what he's able to do as we scroll back a little bit farther. And the 0-1 of Brandon Stokes, he is trying to get the 10th spot. Tim Knott gets washed up the track throughout that pass, and 0-1 lost some momentum, trying to allow Knott to recover. Right behind that is the 30 of Brad Cross. This is off turn 2 down the back straightaway.
Pretty even run by both of those drivers. Looks like Tim Knott is kind of starting to pull ahead just a little bit down the backstretch, not by much. Going down into turn 3 now. Brandon Stokes driving in a little bit deeper, but he's washing out the track. He's up there in the middle lane, which is not where he wants to be, and it's going to allow Tim Knott to clear. And now Brad Cross trying to get to the outside.
And then right behind them, there's a side-by-side battle going on with, I believe that to be Scott Smith and Zach Calloway. And there comes that Discount Tire machine to the inside of Scott Smith. Calloway and Smith into corner number 1 to the inside, but that outside with Smith, he's going to hold the momentum up, and in the fence he's going to go. So much for that momentum. He'll lose the spot to Calloway. He may lose the spot to Dylan Hickey.
Both drivers loose out of turn 2, but Scott Smith is going to get a bit of a better run and not quite able to clear. Now he's clear of that 54 of Hickey going down into turn 3. We'll see if he can make a dive. He's going to try and dive underneath them. Both drivers sliding up the track through turn number 3 and through the short chute now. Looks like Dylan Hickey is getting a slightly better run. Through 4, he's now clear.
So hard racing throughout the field here for all positions, not just up front. These guys doing a great job and running side by side, and we'll go closer to the front again, and these guys still trying to sort out these positions. Bogart is trying to now get by Mitch Brown, and we know Mitch Brown has not made it easy on his competition, and cautioned.
Another caution out now after about 9 laps there. So
Andy Veltman spun around, and I can't quite tell what corner that is in all honesty. So it was turn 1. So let's see what happened into corner number 1. He just got loose on the braking and a hard right trying to save it into the turn 1 wall, and solo car incident, but that is going to be terminal. And there we go. Caution again, and we will collect behind the pace car and presumably have some more pit stops.
Yeah, with that fall off, once again, everyone's going to want 4 fresh tires. And it's only going to be about 20 laps to go by the time we get the green, so there could be time for probably another 2 or 3 cautions. We'll see. Hopefully they can keep it green to the end.
Yeah, not usually how we want to call a race. Almost reminds me slightly of the 2008 tire debacle here, where they had about 8-10 lap runs just because of how the tires are. Obviously we don't have those the tire problems, but just in terms of the segments that we are kind of racing in, it's very coincidental that almost every single run has been about 8 to 10 laps. We haven't really had a quick run, and we also haven't had a long run. We've had about 8 to 10 lap runs. I think about 4 of them thus far. So here we come off of 4 and coming to the attention of their crews for, I believe it to be the 4th time tonight. Eckrich will lead him down, and I think Eckrich has led just about every lap. He's led 35 of the 38 laps. Only laps he did not lead, I think, were drivers that were staying out on the pit stop cycles trying to get some bonus points. So this has been the race for the 70, and see if he can have a nice clean stop down pit road.
Looks like every driver is coming down pit road. And he's going to get it out of pit road, and Scott Eckrich is going to drop back to 4th, with Woody Mahan winning the race out of pit road. So with Scott Eckrich now going to be back in 4th. We'll have to see if he's able to get by those 3 cars in front of him with only going to be about 20 laps to go. He has been the fastest car by pretty big margin so far.
When I was 16 years old, I was working at a Goodyear tire store, and my boss actually built an old dirt car, street stock Monte Carlo. Went with him one night, fell in love with it. It was a hell of a race, hell of a party, and a big fight afterwards. I was like, this is it for me. It wasn't long after that, I was driving an old 78 Camaro out of the weeds at that guy's farm. We pulled that thing out and made a race car out of it, and away we went. You know, I think a driver has more to do with the equation going back and racing dirt, whether it's a modified, a late model. You can do more with the race car. You know, the harder you drive it, a lot of times, the better it goes. You can crawl up on that wheel and feel like you made the difference at the end of the night. Asphalt car, you can't overdrive them. Well, that was the first thing that I had to learn right off the bat is, oh my gosh, I've got to discipline myself, not overdrive this thing, and that's how you get the most out of it. Truth be told, communicating the right information to your crew and your crew chief so they can do their job and make their appropriate adjustments for you to go faster and do your job is probably 90% of the game in our world. I've always loved late models. You know, my dream was to be a late model driver driving for a living across the country like Daryl and Don do that drive for me. I mean, that was, truth be told, that was my dream, you know. I always wanted a semi. I always wanted a stacker trailer with 2 hot rods in it, and let's go racing. Let's take off with your buddies and go race and chase that dream. Never in a million years did I think it would turn into a Cup Series, and I actually have an opportunity to own 2 dirt late model teams. When you think of iRacing, you don't think of a video game. It's not. It's way above and beyond any of that. You know, dirt racing changes so much. The track changes so much. Being able to capture that, to experience all those details that surround dirt racing and make dirt racing what it is what makes iRacing so cool, because they did nail all of that. I knew when they came to our shop and scanned cars and went to the detail of getting that car right, I knew that it was going to be over the top, because it blew my mind just the work that went into making sure the car itself was legit. This sport has been around a long time. The competition can't be replaced, and that's what brings people back to the racetrack week in and week out.
back with you once again here on PTR TV on LSR TV for what will be another restart, but a lot different than what we've seen all race. That number 70 did not have the pit stop that he needed, so he's going to fall back to the 4th position. And now Woody Mahan's going to be the control car with Yazik Taze outside, Ashland to the inside, and then as we said, in the 4th, second row on the outside is going to be Eckrich.
Going to be interesting to see if he can get back up there and get up to the lead. He is going to be in a little bit of traffic now, not a whole lot, but we'll see if he can get by those guys in front of him. He doesn't have the clean air like he has for every single green flag lap tonight, but pace car is out of turn 4 now.
Yes, it is, and we'll see. We saw that Eckrich was going earlier in the box. What will Woody Mahan do? Pace car is in, and waiting a little bit later in the box, and there he goes. We're back racing. Does look like Yazik stayed with him a lot better, and a huge push to help him from Eckrich.
Only about a car length gap between Yazik and Mahan going down into turn 1. And Mahan is sliding up the track, and Eckrich is right on back bumper of Yazik down into turn 2. Who's going to get the best run out of this corner? Looks like Eckrich is going to get a good run, but so is Yazik and so is Mahan. Pretty even from those top 3.
Yeah, Yazik is slowly gaining. He's not going to have enough by the entrance of corner number 3 to do anything with him. He's going to wash a little bit high is Yazik. That's going to give the edge to the 40 throughout the corner, but it's also going to open the door for Eckrich to the inside, side by side for the 3rd position.
But out of turn 4, Yazik is going to be clear for that. And crash in turn 4.
Steve Buhala, serious impact in corner number 4. See what happened to Steve. He was to the inside of the 0-1 of Brandon Stokes. He hit the curb, and oh, who was that to the inside? The 73 made some contact with him.
Looks like Jonathan Holstein just got into his left rear a little bit, entering turn 4.
Yeah, that was right to the back bumper. Got that 43 sideways and couldn't quite keep it off the barrier. Got loose and spun into the turn 4 fence.
So that was only 4 laps there, Corey.
But it was only about a lap and a half on green flag. So I don't expect these guys to be down pit road.
We will see here. Coming through the little short chute in between 3 and 4. Pits will be open this time. We'll see if anyone decides to come down pit road.
I'd be very surprised. I just don't think the fall off versus the track position loss is going to be worthy enough. We see everyone looking down.
Jordan Ashland, Jared Mogard staying out.
It's going to be a pretty
well split, but I think more drivers are staying out.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting.
With how many laps there are to go, I think staying out is going to be the right call here. And with how many guys did end up staying out. So looks like about 10, 11 lead lap cars stayed out. And the rest come down pit road.
Jordan Ashland, Jared Mogard, Tim Knott, Brad Cross, Dylan Hickey, Alex Giese, Jared Haggerty, Josh Walker, Tommy Cannon, Kenny Baker, and Richard Fletcher. 11 drivers stayed out, and of those 11, Evan, the 27 and the 20 by far are the fastest of the two. It's going to be a matter really of how much are those other drivers going to slow down the progress of Eckrich and company.
Well, Eckrich, he did a strategy call there. Only took 2 tires. So he's going to restart in 12th. First car on tires, but he's only on 2 fresh ones. But he's only got about a lap on those left sides.
Yeah, so Woody Mahan, back in 13th, has 4 tires, fresh tires on that machine. So again, how much are these drivers going to be held up in their endeavor to get back to the front via those guys we really haven't seen or talked too much of tonight that have been maybe mid-teens, early 20s? And will they have enough time to get there before the end of the race? Because we don't know how many more cautions we're going to have.
Because they need it to go green for at least 5 laps. They can get by some cars, but then they're going to need a caution so that they can get regrouped up there with the top 5 that would already be pulled away at least a little bit over them.
Yeah, so we always say it, Evan. Is it too early to take your pick?
I don't think so. You can go first. I'll let you pick.
No. You.
You want me to go first? Okay, I'm gonna take Ashland.
You think the old tires are gonna persevere?
Yeah, I don't think there's enough laps left for those guys further back to get by those 11 cars that are staying out.
Well, I don't think no. I'm gonna have to be different. I'm gonna go with Mahan. Just to be different. I'm not too confident. I do agree with you that there's probably not enough time, but I don't think Mogard has the speed to battle with him. We haven't seen it yet. Mogard's been kind of about a 5th place car. Ashland's more been about a 3rd place car, so yeah, it's
we've never really seen what Mogard can do because he's always been stuck behind someone. He's never really been by himself where we can see what lap times he's running. Because he started back in 30th, so he's had to pass a lot of cars to get to where he is now.
That is very true. So now that he can maybe run his own pace, there may be another 10th or something in that machine that he's not having to accommodate for other drivers. He can run his own line. So that'll be interesting to see. And at this point of the race, coming to 15 laps to go, we still have 26 drivers on the lead lap. Believe it or not, Sam Maxwell is still on the lead lap in that modified Ford Fusion Cup car. I mean, it might as well be a modified without having any front end on it, but he has managed to keep it on the lead lap.
He's getting a lot of damage fixed on every single caution, so he's still trooping around there, running in 26th.
Yep, and there he goes to beat the pace car out, try to get back around. And remember, he is trying to get to Homestead, and most likely he is going to have to win Martinsville or have a huge run at Martinsville and prey on some bad luck. Unless something dramatic here happens in what will be the last 14 laps of competition.
So if we do stay green here, I don't think that Ackrich and those guys on back will be able to get up there. They're going to need a caution or two to kind of regroup everyone after they can get by some cars.
I think that they will get past these drivers who are in the middle right now, but I expect Ashland and Mogard to kind of gap everybody else. And I think the question is going to be is how much into that gap are they going to be able to make up? And I don't think it's going to be enough, but again, there might be 2 more cautions. We don't know. We're just going to have to find out together, and we're about a quarter of a lap from finding these answers out. Jordan Ashland has been up front all day, but he hasn't been at the top of the pylon, and this is where he is going to start this late race restart. And Jared Mogard, we know he is a fast driver in many of these vehicles in the ASRS series of leagues, and always up front, always going for the wins. And let's see what he can do as well. Pace car comes off of corner number 4. Field bunches up for yet another restart, and Ashland wastes no time at all. There he goes to get this race restarted.
And going to get a pretty good jump over Jared Mogard and everyone behind him. Going down into turn 1 now is Ashland, top 2 single file, but there's a battle for 3rd with Tim Knott on the inside of Brad Cross, and a car around in the wall in turn 2, turn 1.
It's Richard Stallings, and who was that was flipping wildly? That was Jonathan Holstein. So let's go back once again onto the replay and see, entering 1, some contact from that blue machine. I can't quite tell who.
Brian Yazik in the 55 got into the back of Richard Stallings.
Yeah, let's try to go on board with Yazik there and watch that happen. Entering 1. Whoa! The 117. I mean, that was to no fault of Yazik. That 117 just... he stopped entering corner number 1, if you watch that, Evan.
I mean, he wasn't going too much slower than the car on his inside.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, from the onboard of Yazik, that was that is not like Yazik to drive like that. He was not expecting the 117 to be that much slower, and obviously that instigated everything else. That's going to give a lot of damage to Yazik. And again, this is another driver going for the top 4 to head to Homestead, and he's going to be down on some speed, and at this point in the race, the lowest he's going to drop back to is 24th, I believe. Actually, no, about 26 is the lowest he can drop at this point, but he's going to have to get some of that repaired and hope it's going to be good enough to salvage about another 10-lap run. So behind the pace car one more time, and again, folks, I do not like going to commercial this much, but these caution laps are very long, and you don't want to hear us bantering and stuttering on for about another 5 minutes. So we're going to go to another side-by-side break, and we'll be back with you guys for the restart.
I grew up in Northern California. My parents were just really big race fans and took my sister and I to sprint car races pretty much every Friday and Saturday night. So I did outlaw kart racing from 7 till I was 14. And then that's when I got into 360 and 410 wing sprint cars. There's just something about dirt racing that's just, you can't get anywhere else. I enjoy going back to race them whenever I can. I get to run about 20 to 25 dirt races a year and try and put on a show every time I'm there.
Battle for the lead. Kyle Larson to the inside of Shane Stewart. Slide job, no. Larson unable to complete the pass. He'll follow Shane Stewart down the back straightaway. Stewart makes the move to the inside of Craig Kinsler. Kyle Larson goes around the outside out of turn 4. You've got a new race leader. Kyle Larson from 9th leads on lap number 23.
I'm probably just a little more relaxed, I guess, at the dirt track just because it's for fun. Where the NASCAR stuff, it's points racing and a lot bigger sponsors and stuff you have to please and all that. You're there for 3 days a week, so your approach is a little bit different there. Where sprint cars, you're there for 5 or 6 hours and moving on to the next racetrack. So I've been on iRacing, I think, since 2009 or 10. Yeah, I remember, starting out, as a rookie on there, in the legends and the late models and stuff like that. And that was fun to, have to try and get your licenses up and stuff. But it's amazing to me how, now that I get to race on a lot of the tracks that are on there, how to the T, similar because of the laser scanning and stuff like that. So all the bumps and all the visual aspects of it are very good. So when I first got to like K&N and then the Nationwide Series at the time, I would race iRacing all the time to learn as much as I could about the racetrack before I went to the actual racetrack to race. So to me, it's just for fun now. So I enjoy going on there. Actually, I don't enjoy going on there all the time because I don't win a lot. So it's frustrating to see myself struggle to run top 10 in an Xfinity race or something like that and get beat by Logan Seavey every time I run a sprint car. So the level of competition on iRacing is better than real life. You've got thousands of drivers on there that, a lot of them are probably better than the people you see on TV. They just haven't had the opportunities to make it but can kick butt on there, and you can spend all day long running thousands of laps a day, so you can get yourself, you know, really good at it. So competition level is just unbelievable, really, on there. I mean, everybody's been asking for dirt on there for forever. So when they announced it, I got really, really excited. And honestly, it's blown my expectations away. The cars, to me, drive really good when the track's hooked up. The visual part of the racetrack changing is amazing. How you can run some laps and see it start to get shiny, and then you feel it getting, you know, slick. You know, areas of the racetrack getting dirty, and then, you know, you get some cars run through there and it cleans off and gets grip back. It's nuts. You know, the tear-off feature is really cool. You know, watching the wing move backwards and forwards. I run with the virtual reality headset too, so being able to like look down and see everything, it looks extremely realistic. So yeah, it blew my expectations away. And it's only gonna get better, really.
And welcome back to the ASRS Premier Cup Series. Sam Maxwell Customs 150 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jordan Ashland up in the lead and Jared Mogard in second as they get ready to go into turn number 3.
Yep, we've had a lot of calamity here tonight, and we'll see how these last 9 laps will fare. A lot of playoff drivers having some issues. Last time, Brian Yazik had some issues with Richard Stallings and just misjudging the corner entry while they were side by side. That caused some significant damage. Now he's tail end of the lead lap, but up front it's going to be Mogard and Ashland. Remember, Eckrich on 2 fresh tires. He is on the outside of the 4th row. Woody Mahan is a little bit further back. I think he had some impact in that last wreck, so we're going to be watching that number 70 and if he can get this track position as the pace car is in. And there goes Ashland. We are back green flag racing.
Ashland gets a good jump over Mogard down the front stretch. Now only 9 laps to go here down into turn number 1. And top 2 once again all singled out. There is still a battle going on for third. Tim Knott and Brad Cross once again side by side. A little contact there. Going down into turn 2 now. Brad Cross sliding on the track as well as Tim Knott. But it looks like Knott's going to get the run out of turn 2 and might be able to clear him down the back.
Yeah, Knott has almost a full car width. He's almost clear, but that number 30 is just hanging on by a whisker out there. But right behind him is Eckrich, who's to the inside, has the preferred groove. A lot of these drivers washing up the track through 3 and 4. Opens the door for the 70. Power move to the inside. Tries to get under cross. Not going to happen. He's going to have to fall back in line.
Eckrich now to the 5th position. Probably wants a caution here in a few laps because the top 2 have pulled away by a lot over Tim Knott in 3rd. But Ashland has about a half a second gap over Mogard for the moment, and looks like Ashland is continuing to pull away.
Yeah, Eckrich is in 5th, and he's 2 seconds back, and the laps are ticking away, and there's a lot of hard racing going throughout the field. So will we continue this out and run it out green? I don't think I have the answer. No, we will not. Big wreck on the back straightaway.
No caution yet. They are below the white line. Looks like that is Tyler Seville, and
I think there may have been an incident removal there for Seville.
Woody Mahan, I believe.
Woody Mahan.
No, Steve Buhala in that 43.
On replay here, you can see they're 2-3 wide, trying to pass Sam Maxwell with that serious damage, and we're going through 1 and 2 on replay right now. And Steve Buhala and Sam Maxwell, slower cars. Scott Smith behind in the 21. Brian Yazik trying to gain these spots, and they come off of 4. And Buhala got loose, and Seville was just an innocent bystander. And I think Buhala got the incident boot, and Again, we stay green through all of that, but up front, Eckrich has gotten back to third. He's a second and a half back, and Mogard is a quarter of a second behind Ashland, coming to 6 to go. This may be interesting amongst these top 3.
Mogard now starting to reel in Ashland. Gap under 0.2 of a second down into turn 4, and if these guys get side by side, that is going to bring Eckrich in very, very quickly. You can see out of 4 just a run Mogard got. That was a huge run out of the corner, and he's continuing it down the front stretch. Might be able to take a look here into turn 1. He's going to have the opportunity to, but just going to stay in line. Now he's going to take a look underneath him. He's going to dive in their contact.
Takuma Sato style. He dove it on in there, washes him up the track. In the fence is Ashland. Mogard's going to go all the way to the apron to try to avoid. That's going to kill his momentum. Here comes Ashland to the inside, and now here comes Eckrich into it. 5.5 laps to go, and Mogard will fall back to second. Here comes Eckrich with the run in, the only clean car of the top 3.
Eckrich going to go 3 wide through the middle, now on the outside of Jordan Ashland. Ashland side of the track 3 wide once again out of turn number 3.
You cannot do this.
Will they make it through turn 4? 3 wide contact with Ashland and Eckrich.
There goes Ashland around.
Caution out.
Evan, I said that you can't do that.
And you were right. They could not do that.
You cannot do that. And that is going to end the race.
And there was a roadblock on the front stretch. Many cars involved from that.
Yeah, you can see here. Well, actually, let's just, well, we're under caution now. We're going to have the time to. Let's go back all the way and watch about that last lap and a half. We're coming down the front straightaway. Mogard is to the right behind. He sails it to the inside, Takuma Sato style. Washes up into the 27. 27 goes wide up the track into the fence. Mogard goes all the way down to the apron. That costs him his momentum with a compromised corner entry. Here comes Mogard. Here comes the 27 of Ashland to the inside. They go door to door down the back straightaway. Ashland is able to clear. Look at Eckrich with a full head of steam. Sails to the inside. 27 with the block. Eckrich says, whatever, I'm going through the middle. And this is where I said you cannot do that, because here comes Mogard to the inside. 3 wide through the chute. And this is where it does not happen. The 27 into the 70. 27 gets really loose. 27 dead sideways off of 4. Spins out. And Jared Mogard will presumably win this race, but we will have to see how quick this yellow can get sorted. There are no one-lap shootouts in this series. That is a rule within the ASRS rulebook. No one-lap shootouts, so we will have to get restarted as a green-white checker.
But there's no cars. Actually, there is one car on track that is a few laps down, Jason Stewart, so he should get the lucky dog here. Then I think that might end the chances of us getting 2-lap shootout here.
Yeah, because if it does rule in iRacing's favor of a 1-lap shootout, it will be waived by admin. It is not a series permissible situation, so I do think that is going to be what is going to happen. Coming to 4 to go, well, on 4 to go right now. We're coming to 3 to go, and again, Jared Mogard started in the 30th position, I do believe, and he will improve. Yes, he was 29 positions to the lead. Eckrich will recover from that pit call and get to second. Mitch Brown, a really good run in third. Good run for the 44. Jordan Harnish up 26 positions here on this event. But let's try to go quickly and just figure out where the playoff drivers are running at the moment. We have Jared Mogard up. Obviously, he will win the race. We have Scott Eckrich in second. And then we have to go to Brian Yazik, who's in 9th. Who else do we have? Ashland all the way back in 18th after that incident. Sam Maxwell, we'll missed him. He's in 15th right now. Jordan Ashland is all the way back there in 18th. And I think I'm missing somebody. I feel like I'm missing Mark Emerson is 27th. He's well out of the race.
Jeff Ward in 31st.
And Jason Stewart is 29th, so
the good thing for the guys that the playoff drivers that have bad nights is a lot of the other playoff drivers have bad nights too.
And what is this going to lead to? This is going to lead to a very, very interesting race at Martinsville. Because what do you do if that 1 point that you may need is right in front of you? I mean, if anybody remembers back to 2014, dating back to Phoenix, Ryan Newman, he needed 1 point, and he absolutely bulldozed Kyle Larson out of the way for it to get that position. And that took Jeff Gordon out of the championship 4, which I'm still salty about that 4 years later. But there could be scenarios like that happening, and I don't think they're going to be that dirty because I don't think the league will permit it. But short track racing is, I mean, the bumpers are a part of it.
And we've already seen the contact at a big track like this, what drivers will do to try and get a win. So
but
just imagine that next week, 2 mile smaller track.
But the asterisk to what I just said is the incident limit does not go up. The incident limit in the league is 13, so that gives you 3 car contacts. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You may be involved in somebody else's incident. You may have some wall contact, or sometimes you could even clip the curb grass at Martinsville, get a 1 exit. It can happen. So the incident limit doesn't go up, so you can't just go root and shove your way through the field, because you're not going to be able to. You're not going to run the amount of laps before you get booted if that's the case.
This will be 2 to go here.
So this is
and the lights should go off here, but they will come back on.
With on 1 to go.
Because this should be 1 degree into here, but that's going to get waved off.
Yeah. So Jared Mogard, who is in 7th in points, he is going to get the free pass unofficially to Homestead, so that will leave 2 drivers automatically locked in to the championship 4. It's going to be Ward and Mogard. That leaves 2 more drivers to fill in the 4 that will be going for the title. And again, that's going to be an interesting race next week. Mogard, this is going to be his 2nd Cup win of this 2018 season. His other win came back all the way back at the beginning of the season, at Dover. So been quite some time since that 00 has been in victory lane for a Cup race. So he will be very excited for that opportunity. And if you're Scott Eckridge, I mean, you had the best car. You did pretty much everything right, except, I guess, in retrospect, you made that wrong pit call, and just, if that caution didn't happen, he had 1 more lap, I think that we'd have a different person taking the milk in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, just if that wreck didn't happen, there's so many different ways it could have played out. Because with those 3 guys, 3 wide for the lead, it was going to be very exciting if they could have kept that clean, but just, it's so hard to do through turn 4 at Indy, go 3 wide.
I mean, it's let alone hard enough to go through 1 or through 3, but to actually sustain that through the narrowest part of the racetrack it's not impossible, but the odds of it working are a lot more difficult than it is at any other racetrack. So wasn't able to end cleanly. We will end behind the Mustang pace car after a race that had 7 cautions, and it will be 25 laps of caution, nearly, unfortunately, half the race behind the pace car. But Mogard is not going to be concerned about that. He is going to be working on that Homestead car and doing what he needs to do. Jeff Ward, unfortunately, not having the night he really should have had, but again, he had a week of extra time to prepare that Homestead car, because that is coming up in a couple weeks time as we are racing the Cup Series out consecutively. October 2nd we head to Martinsville, and And we have a week off, and then we are on October 16th. That's championship week for the Cup Series. So season wrapping up, and then we will be switching to the Truck Series to finish that campaign out, as their playoffs are a little bit more involved, a couple rounds, couple elimination rounds. So gonna have to stay tuned for both championships here, live PTR TV on LSRTV, see how they shake out. But coming through 3 and 4 for the final time at a whopping 80 miles an hour, Jared Mogard is about to take the checkered flag.
Scott Eckrich having some good runs these last couple races, so he should be in pretty good points position to make it in to the Final Four at Homestead.
Yes, he will, and he's going to have to fight for it next week. But Jared Mogard exits corner number 4, and he is going to take the checkered flag at the Brickyard. Jared Mogard wins the Sam Maxwell Customs 150.
Scott Eckrich going to come home in second, and Mitch Brown in third.
We offer our congratulations to the 00 on a hard-fought victory here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kind of got the caution, got the break he needed at the perfect moment to save the race, because Eckrich was coming very quickly and was probably going to take the checkered flag. But sometimes you get those breaks that you need, and he was able to take advantage of it and take it into victory lane tonight. So we're going to give you a field rundown here and hopefully get you some interviews and bring you the post-race show. So from Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the victory here tonight is Jared Mogard leading 6 laps. Scott Eckrich leading the most laps, 36. Will have to settle for second. Mitch Brown will finish in third. Dylan Hickey in fourth. Jared Haggerty with a fifth. Tommy Cannon in sixth. Jim Foose with a seventh. Jordan Harnish, Brian Yazik, and Woody Mahan, your top 10.
And coming home in 11th, we have the number 41 of Tim Knott. In 12th, we have the 21 of Scott Smith. 13th, 87 of Ken Baker. 14th and 30 of Brad Cross, 15th and 98 of Sam Maxwell, and the rest of the top 20, Lee Staples, Richard Fletcher, Jordan Ashland, Tyler Seville, and Zach Calloway.
And then 21st through 30 is going to be Alex Gacy, Steve Buhala in 22nd, Josh Walker in 23rd, Brandon Stokes in 24th, Richard Stallings in 25th, Jonathan Holstein 26th, Mark Emerson, the Chase playoff driver, in 27th, and Andy Veltman, Jason Stewart, and Mark Whitley round out the top 30.
Rest of the field, we have Jeff Ward coming home in 31st, Alan Young 32nd, Troy Hayton 33rd, Clarence Bonner in 34th, David Hudson 35th, and Nick Kaufman in 36th, who do not start the race.
Yeah, Nick Kaufman is a race admin, so not driver on the grid, but 35 drivers actually 34 drivers. Hudson did not start either, for that matter, at Indianapolis here tonight. So we are still waiting for these drivers to head to the booth and talk to us. So while we wait for them, we will step aside once more for the final commercial of the night. So stay with us for the post-race show.
The car behind me is my Chili Bowl midget, the one that I won the Chili Bowl with. And what's interesting about that is it's actually the car that iRacing scanned that's going to be available to all the iRacing members out there.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
And we're back here for the post-race show after the Sam Maxwell Customs 150 for the Twitchy Race Report's Premier Cup Series here at Indianapolis. And we had Jared Mogard have an exciting win to tonight's race, and Evan Black has caught up with tonight's victor in victory lane.
So, Jared, you come home with the win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and that was pretty hectic there the last few laps before that caution came out. So, what are your thoughts after this race?
Strategy worked out, and we got lucky getting in for the second night in a row.
Yeah, you had a lot of side-by-side racing there, and over the 3 wide. Did you think that would work out, or did you kind of know there's going to be a wreck after the 3 wides through turn 4 usually doesn't work?
I don't know. You know, me and Jordan, we left the 70 catch up, and he had a good run on the back stretch. And going into 3, I was just going to let them 2 fight it out for the win and take 3rd. And he kind of pushed up a little bit, and we saw the hole and went for it. And like I said, we got lucky. I mean, we probably should have finished 3rd, but we got lucky. They wrecked, and we were able to get through.
Well, you got that win, so you should be locked into Homestead. And how are you feeling about being able to go race for a championship? And do you think you'll have a shot at it?
Yeah, you know, we're thrilled about it. I mean, that's the goal at the beginning of the year, is to have a shot at a championship, and we have that now. I don't know, we got some work to do. The 90 got wrecked, otherwise he probably would have won the race too, but he's going to be the favorite, but you know, tonight shows that anything can happen, so as long as we're staying in contention, we got a shot at it.
Alright, well, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to after your victory here at Indy?
Yeah, I gotta thank Nick Kaufman for the Kaufman Racing Graphics and Twitchy Race Reports for being on my car, all the fans for watching, and Jim and everybody that puts on this league, and you guys for the broadcast, and hopefully the fans enjoyed. That was a pretty fun finish.
Alright, well, thanks for talking with us, and good luck next week.
Alright, thank you, buddy.
Now, Corey has caught up with 2nd place finisher Scott Eckrich.
All right, Scott, I don't really know where to start with this interview. You had a amazingly fast number 70, but all the cautions and the strategy kind of got you off cycle there, and very nearly were able to fully recover back for victory lane, but a 2nd place tonight. So how do you wrap up tonight's race?
I mean, I don't think I could look at that anything but a big disappointment, you know, with the hundreds of cautions there, and just, you know, people not wanting to pay attention, I guess, tonight. So, you know, I guess we made do with what we had there. Really hate that contact in the last corner there. I'm not really sure. I haven't taken a look at that yet, but yeah, I don't know. We'll just go on to next week and hope we can do a little bit better than this week.
Yeah, you obviously with that strategy call, you got back there, and obviously all the cautions made it difficult, but you had that position, and I'm sure you saw ahead of you that crazy battle going on with Mogard and Ashland. What was your mindset when you saw them duking at it, and ultimately that 3 wide that kind of threw that final caution out?
Yeah, I guess, you know, I saw them go do their thing in the turn 1, and I was just hoping to get them, you know, get by them before, you know, their little brawl session there, you know, resulted in a spin. And that last corner, I really don't know. I mean, from my perspective, I'm at the top of the track turning in. I don't know if, you know, maybe the guy on the inside just missed his turn-in point or something like that, but I felt like I was as high as I could go without hitting the wall and exit, and looks like he just tagged me on the driver's door there. So that looked like that ended the end of the race there.
Yeah, so you should be with a 2nd place finish in pretty good position headed to Martinsville to ensure that you'll be headed to Homestead. Is there any concern of your ability at Martinsville, or is that a track that you have some confidence heading into?
I may not always be the fastest dude to Martinsville, but I'm usually always top 5. So, I mean, if a top 5 can get me into there, then I'm feeling pretty good about it.
All right, final question, brother. Anyone you want to give a shout out to for tonight's finish?
I'd just like to thank everybody at the league, ASRS, LPM, and the broadcast team there for putting on our show every week.
All right, tenfold, brother. Congrats, and hopefully we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
And now Evan Black will talk to the 3rd place finisher, Mitch Brown.
Well, Mitch, you restarted 12th on that final restart and somehow made it up to 3rd there in just a few laps you had. Talk us through that.
It was crazy. When I pitted and most everyone stayed out, I kind of was like, well, shit, I think I messed up on my gamble, but I mean, it paid off for me in the end. It wasn't really that bad of a restart. I just, you know, I knew guys were gonna be slow, so I just had to bide my time and pick off each car one by one.
Yeah, there was only about 5 laps to go, or about 10 laps to go once you got the green. Do you think if that would have stayed green and that wreck wouldn't have happened, do you think you would have been able to get much more than that, or is that where you think you would have ended up?
Maybe I had an outside shot, but I kind of had a hunch that once Scott got up to those top 2, there was going to be something that happened, whether it was a wreck or someone got their feelings hurt somewhat. But I'm just happy that I left Indianapolis clean with a clean car and a top 3 finish.
Yeah, next week you get to go to Martinsville. You're not in the playoffs, so you don't really have to worry too much about getting a good finish there. You're just out there to have some fun and try and get a win. Do you think you'll have a shot to get the victory there next week?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, I've always ran good at Martinsville. Let's just have to come back and regroup and try to finish 2 spots better next week at Martinsville.
All right. Well, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to after your 3rd place finish?
Just gotta thank everyone at on my team, my new teammates, Tim and Jared. We had a little merger a couple weeks ago with them, Elevation. So they're my new teammates. So I'm happy that they're part of the new team. I want to congratulate Jared and Tim on both their good runs tonight, and just you guys for putting on the broadcast each and every week.
All right. Thanks for talking with us, and good luck next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, so that is the post-race show. Talk to the top 3 finishers. So I'm going to wrap up coverage here tonight with sponsor shout-outs here on the PTR TV side of things. Want to give a shout-out to Air Movement and Fabrications, Croots Custom Graphics, iBog, iRacing Broadcast, Overlay Graphics, and Track Cams for Gourmets for our views tonight. You watch the ASRS Twitchy Race Report Premier Cup Series here tonight, and stay tuned every Tuesday night till mid-November, and we will have some racing for you. We'll watch the Cup Series end in a couple weeks at Homestead, and we still have some more races to watch as the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series ends its campaign as well. And stay tuned to Monday nights for the Integrity Racing League here at PTR TV on LSRTV. Signing out of the booth is Corey Silva and Evan Black. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good night, and we'll see you on Monday.